Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today we have Jenn Foster, who is one of today's national leading online and mobile marketing experts. She's also the founder and CEO of Biz Social Boom, a company dedicated to helping business owners of all sizes thrive in today's highly technical world of product and service promotion. So she helps businesses get found online and be recognized as the expert. So let's learn a little bit how she does this and why it's important that you should be positioned this way. So let's give a warm welcome to Jenn. So Jenn, welcome.
Thank you.
So how did you get into this world, as it's not necessarily that choice that people make when they're deciding what they want to do for a living? Like, I want to help people publish books and be found online.
Right. Yeah, so it's kind of unique how I got into it. I own some retail stores and we needed a website. So it was about 12 or almost 13 years ago. I built the website and then, it wasn't that cool because no one could find it. So I learned everything I could about how to get a website found online. And I really dove into video marketing and using videos to get your website found.
Oh, excellent.
So it was pretty cool. And then I started doing that for other people. And of course, with videos, then you need other marketing besides just videos and SEO for videos. But search engine optimization is what SEO stands for. I know a few people know that. But so along with videos, we also did a lot of local marketing because we were a retail store and all of the clients that I got were mostly brick and mortar. There was a few retail or online stores, not just, having a brick and mortar, but actually having an online store. And we wanted to get found, everyone wants to be number one on Google. So we did a lot of video marketing, a lot of local marketing, which is really just maps marketing, making sure you're in Google Maps, making sure you have, Yelp and all the different maps that are online. And so that's what we did. We made sure everyone was number one, and a lot of that has to do with SEO.
Oh, that's powerful, because so many businesses, they make that mistake of investing in just a pretty website, but then they experience the same thing that you were like, well, no one's going to it. Well, no, it's not like we're turning back the clock to like 1995 where the number of websites you could count in the thousands. Mm-hmm. So it was easy to be found for something. You just put a page up and ta-da, there it was. Versus now, it doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah, so we want to make sure that the people that we're trying to help get found online, that they have lots of great keywords on their website. As well as in their videos and all the content that they create. It's kind of like coming up with three main things and then using them over and over again. It's like making sure you have that exact title of what you want people to be searching you for. So they call them meta tags, but your title, your keywords, and your description. And once you have those three things, they might change over time, but once you have those three things, then you can put them on your website. You can put them on different pages of your website. You can put them on your videos. You can put them on, your blog posts. You can put them on all the content that you create. And when you keep using that same keyword, then you can be found, right?
Right. So as you dove into helping businesses be found, did you find that it kept evolving where you need to change the strategies you were using? Because some people think that if I just set it up once, I'm good. I don't have to touch it again.
I wish it was that easy, right?
Right, yeah.
So, unfortunately, Google and Amazon and the internet changes every day. You go to Facebook and it looks new, it looks something different every time you go, right? They're going to keep changing things and improving things. So, yeah, it used to be that you could type in a keyword and the first and second spot on Google was a video, right?
Right.
And now it's been about 3 or 4 years since it's been like that. And the reason why they changed is because Google changed their algorithms. They changed the way that they do things. So now there's a tab that you have to click on that says video, and then you'll get videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the videos that used to rank number 1 are ranking on page 2. I think I have 1 or 2 keywords that they're ranking for on page 1, but they're not number 1 anymore. They're like number 8 on the page, right?
Yeah.
So that's because they changed. So you have to evolve and change with that.
Right. It's important to consistently change your strategy because as Google makes countless algorithm adjustments, you have to adapt accordingly because sure, if you look at different publications, they're going to talk about all the major ones, but no one talks about the minor tweaks that they do because they're minor that most people would never notice, but then for that business owner out there where you might have a video, you might have something out there. Like it was ranking and then next day it was gone. They probably made an adjustment.
That's right.
And,
yeah, so it's constantly changing, constantly doing different things.
Right. It's a never-ending game of chess that you're playing with Google to figure out what move should you make that doesn't violate any of their terms, because that's something that's also really important if you think about the things that you used to be able to do. Like I remember years and years ago, people would spam the crap out of something to get it to rank. So they would do something like it would be, let's say, a white background on a page. They would put the keyword in there, thousands of times in a white font.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
But of course, you wouldn't dare do that now because that would be a really bad thing to do.
Yeah, they would blacklist you if you did that now.
Right. People don't understand that. And this is why I always tell people, if you focus on quality content and then you have people talking about your quality content, you're halfway there.
Yeah, I think you just hit it right on the nail, the content. That's what Google wants. They want to have the freshest, newest content that's relevant to what the person is searching for.
Right. Because if you think about it, what is it that people do? They go onto Google because they're searching for a solution to a problem they're having, or they're searching for information to a question they have. So in order for Google to remain relevant, they have to have quality information available for people that are using its search platform.
Right.
And if it's not quality, well, then what's the point of it? If it's just spammy, if it's supposed to be, I don't know, let's just say that you're looking for a recipe on how to cook the most amazing spaghetti dinner, and then you find an ad for Chef Boyardee talking about that, it's probably not going to go well.
Right.
Not that I'm knocking Chef Boyardee or anything.
But yeah, you want to find the recipe for the spaghetti sauce or spaghetti or whatever you're looking for. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what you want. So it's all so much more important that you focus on quality instead of just spammy content, because there's way too much of it out there. It's like, wow, that's 2 minutes of my life I can't get back after trying to see if there's anything of value there.
Right.
And so many businesses suffer from that. So speaking of content, in your opinion, in your world, what do you define as quality content?
Yeah, well, I think quality content is what we were talking about previously, which is value. So content that's going to give value. Content that's going to give the person who's looking for that the information they want, or information they want and more information, right? So a lot of times, they talk about the want and the need. So some people might want something, but it's not what they need. So we want to give them what they want, and then also at the same time giving them what they need, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, definitely. It is something that you have to do in that regard, just giving them what they want and what they need, because so many people don't do that. I like to use an analogy. When it comes to content in terms of being quality, if people are hungry for a steak, give them a steak. Don't give them a salad, because they're not going to want it.
I like that.
But you look at how many times that happens in the whole marketing world. People are saying, oh, I know you're looking at this, but this is what you really want. Well, no, they're kind of interested in the other thing.
Right.
The whole bait and switch tactics, they're not as effective anymore because people are wising up. And that's something I think people don't realize, is that the world is smarter than they let on to. So you have to behave accordingly.
Yes, definitely. Well, and talking about the content, that's where books come in. So
Right.
creating and content and putting it in the form of a book is a really great way. It's just another format or another level of giving that content to the end user. So, a video, back in the day we did lots of video. We still do lots of video, but you could take, a video that you recorded where you answered a bunch of questions, and you could transcribe that video and put it in the form of a book, because now you have two different readers, so to say, right? You've got someone who likes to watch videos, they're watching your video, but maybe there's another person out there who would rather read. So it's in a different format.
Right.
So the same content, but in a different format. And they both bring great value. It's just now you can expand on that, turn it into a book. So, of course, there's a ton of ebooks online, which, aren't very long. And that's what I mean by transcribing the video. But then you get into, okay, well, what if you took your 10 videos where you're talking about the 10 frequently asked questions that you have for your company, and you put those in a book? Now you've got a real book. You could make it into a printed book, right? Not just an ebook.
Right. So how would someone use that? Because I'm sure some people would be thinking, well, I have a couple of videos, but how is that going to benefit me if I turn this into a book?
Yeah, so I have a book out there called Books to Bucks. I co-authored it with Everett O'Keefe, and the book is the top 20 ways to make money with your book. So what we do is we teach authors and business owners how to write a book by using those frequently asked questions or those should ask questions. And you can transcribe those questions if you want to video yourself instead of writing it all out. And you can turn that into a book. And when you have a book like that, now you have what they almost like a glorified business card, right? You have this book that you can sell on Amazon, an ebook. You could sell it for maybe $2, $3 as an ebook, or you could sell it as a print book for, say, $10. And then you could buy, for you, buying it wholesale, it might cost less than $5. It might be like $3 to $5 depending on who's printing it for you. Right. But now you have a $3 business card instead of 20 cents or something. So it's a little more expensive. But now when you're at your networking groups or if you're speaking anywhere, now you have something to give someone of value. So instead of just giving them your business card, you can say, hey, I brought you a copy of my book. And they look at you like, what? You're an author? Wow. And they are so excited, and they have this book in their hand. And then you tell them a little bit about it. They take it home and read it. Now they have all the information, and they're ready to work with you. So depending on if you're a consultant or there's so many different ways you could use a book. Doctors, lawyers, even plumbers and carpet installers, if they have, a small 100-page or, 85 to 100-page book, I would say not more than 150 pages, then someone can take that home, read it in an hour or two, and they have, everything they need to know for, say, if they have a doctor's appointment coming up, right? Right. Or maybe they want to lose weight, and there's a certain way that this clinic, like this doctor, teaches you to lose weight. Well, he can put all the information in this small book, give it to the person, and now they're ready to get started with them. They know exactly what their program's going to be. They can sit down for the consultation, and they don't have a million questions because they read the book. So now they're ready to get started with the weight loss program, and they hand over the check or whatever it is, right?
Right. And that's a powerful way to do it, because if you think about it, how many times have you been to a networking event over the years and you had someone just hand you their card? You're like, okay. And then it just went into that pile of, well, let's just say more like an abyss of business cards that you just don't see them anymore. Mm-hmm. Has that happened to you?
Yes. I have a drawer full of business cards, and it's only recently that I've had a really good app, which I can share with everybody. It's called Camcard. I really love that app. That will take a picture of it, add the contact to my phone. But even then, I'm not going to remember that person very much. Like I'm going to have to go back to my app or find the card again, or, see it in my contacts to remember, oh, who was that person? What did they do? But if they give me a book, that book, I'm going to set it on my kitchen table. I'm going to set it on the kitchen counter. I'm going to read it. Then it's going to go in my office. It's going to be on the shelf. And every time I walk into my office, I'm going to see it on my shelf. Right?
Right.
So even if I didn't read it, say I didn't read it and I just set it on my shelf, now every time I look at that book, I'm going to remember, oh yeah, Byron gave me that book.
Right. It's something that makes a difference when you do it in that capacity, because now you're taking up a physical presence and you're educating someone. I think that's where the biggest difference comes into play, that the average person is just going to give someone a business card and it's like, okay, this is great. But by giving a book, you're giving the gift of knowledge and helping them, which positions you as the authority ahead of everybody else that they might be talking to.
Exactly.
And the more we position ourselves as an authority, the better.
Yes. Well, and I think that's the biggest thing about books that, really got me more into the book publishing than just, in the marketing, is that the book just gives you so much credibility. I mean, having a website, yeah, that gives you credibility. Being ranked number one, yes, that gives you credibility. But what if when someone types in your name, the first thing that comes up is your Amazon author page?
Right.
That gives you huge credibility. And then when they click on that, it goes to your Amazon author page. And right there, it tells you, wow, Byron Ingram, he wrote the book, The Art of Conversation. Wow, I really want to work with him. He's an author, right?
Right. And that's really powerful when you think about it, because how many times does that not happen for people? It's always just them, but now it's that social proof. They're saying, whoa, you're showing up on this website? That's incredible.
Right. And Amazon's such a huge, powerful company. And when you associate your name with Amazon, I mean, it's almost similar as right now we're doing a podcast, and I'm sure this podcast will be on iTunes, correct?
Oh, yes.
So being able to say, hey, I'm on iTunes, that gives you a huge credibility.
Right. That it does. Which is what we need. We need to have that credibility by showing up in a variety of places.
Yes, so having your book on Amazon, whether you're being interviewed on a podcast or you have your own podcast, that's going to give you instant credibility, either one.
Right. Exactly. The more credibility, the better. As that's what makes all the difference in the world when you think about it. So diving back on, or let's say just jumping back over to the Amazon author page, because some people are thinking, really, I can get that to rank on Google? What is it people should be putting in their Amazon author page that makes a difference for them?
Yeah, well, first of all, you got to make sure that you claim it. So a lot of times people will have a book on Amazon. They think that they have an Amazon author page, but you actually have to claim your book. It's almost like when you claim your Google map. I don't know if you have an office, but you have to claim your Google Maps. You can say you're on Google Maps, but if you don't claim it, then you can't add pictures, you can't add your information, you can't make sure your hours are there and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So the same thing on Amazon. So on Amazon, you have to go to Author Central. So you can search Amazon Author Central, and you can find where you log into Amazon, and then you can claim your author page. Now your author page, of course, you want it to be the same name that's on your book. So if your book has an initial, for instance, like yours is Byron E. Ingram. So like if I had my middle initial, I don't, but I just have Jenn Foster on mine. But if I had Jenn P. Foster, then I would want to make sure I claim that with the initial. So within the Amazon author page, it's just like anything else. When you fill out your profile, you want to fill it out all the way. So you want to make sure you add pictures, add videos, have a really good headshot. You want to put your bio in there. All those kind of things, you want to make sure it's there. And then you can claim your books. They have a tab at the top that says books, and then you can go claim which books are yours. And if you only have one, you can claim that. But if you do upload more books or you have more books to come, then you want to make sure you add those to your author page.
Oh, that's definitely important, and that's extremely valuable for people to do, because you think about how many people don't do that.
Yeah, it's huge. And another really cool thing to do is, so they give you a place to put your bio. And so when you see someone's Amazon author page, it should have a really nice profile picture, your name, and then it has a follow button, and then underneath that is your bio. So in your bio, of course you wanted to make sure it's a really good bio, but then at the bottom of the bio, go ahead and put your links in there. I mean, it's not hyperlinked, so you can't click on them, but people can copy and paste. So you want to put your website link, you want to put your podcast link, your social media links, all of those things so people can find you. And then that way people can see like, oh, he has all these books, but look, I see his website, I see his social media, I can follow him on Facebook and Twitter, I can go to his LinkedIn and connect with him. Like all these things are there, and that gives you more and more opportunity.
Oh, excellent. And that's important to do because the more things that we do to position ourselves in front of people, the better, because it's the little stuff that adds up. Mm-hmm. So do you find that a lot of authors don't take the time to claim their author page on Amazon?
Yeah, we find a lot of times they don't have it. And sometimes it's just not that they didn't take the time, it's just that they didn't even know about it, right? So if you just want to make sure you get it. So just for a quick example on the search, we try and go to the Lee Steinberg party at every Super Bowl. Now, Lee Steinberg is the agent, the sports agent. He was the Jerry Maguire. So if you've seen the movie Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, that movie was based on Lee Steinberg's story. So Lee Steinberg has this event on Super Bowl, and we wanted to go to his website and make sure we had all the information before we went to the event. So we typed in Lee Steinberg on Google search. And when we did that, we thought we would find his website. You know, I mean, he's a pretty well-established guy, right? And when we did that, it was really interesting because the first thing that came up was his Amazon author page. We thought, what? You would think that his website would come up before the Amazon author page, right?
Right.
But his Amazon author page came up, which was awesome. And so then we could click and see, you know, what he's got on Amazon. What's his book like?
Right.
So pretty cool that Amazon ranked him #1 first. And he's got a great author page. You know, he's got his books on there, and he's got his bio and his links. So it was perfect.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to be able to have that information show in front of people that way, because it's something that often is not done, because it's, especially if you think about some names out there which are kind of common, that it gives you a leg up where ranking your website, let's say that the name, I'm just going to be facetious here and say the name was John Smith.
Right.
Good luck ranking anything for that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
You'll have an easier time, or at least the possibility that someone will find the Amazon author page than your own website for that name. Right. Yeah. Because how many authors are there named John Smith? Not that I am going to go to Amazon and start searching that, but it's going to be a smaller percentage of people than just the masses out there with names John Smith.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure there is a John Smith on Amazon. And if he claimed his author page and put a picture there, then he's going to be known for his books more, because people are going to associate, oh, that's what he looks like? Oh, awesome. And if they have already bought his book, they're going to, of course, see his picture on the back cover or on the interior file. So then they're going to associate more with, okay, I know this is the John Smith, right?
Right. Exactly. People want to have that authority of that people can recognize who they are versus them being just another face in the crowd.
Exactly.
So then, obviously, by the sounds of it, having a book is a great thing. Yes. What is it that people can do with it? Because you mentioned there's 20 ways that people can make money with it. I think most people, they get stuck is like, well, you mean I can sell books, but then what? They're looking like, what I do is put on Amazon and just say, okay, world, please buy my book. And they make a sale, like in quote unquote a sale, and it was their mom.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So in my book, of course, we have 20 different ways. But, you know, I can cover another one here. So, of course, we talked about using it as a business card and handing it out. But, you know, with all of our authors, when we work with them with my company, Elite Online Publishing, we make sure that we have a marketing roadmap and kind of go over some of those 20 ways. And, of course, there's way more than 20. But you know, you want to have some kind of marketing plan. Because if you don't have a plan for your book, then, like you said, you might make one sale, or you might have your mom buy it, right?
Right.
So you want to have a plan. One of my favorite ways to make money with your book is really, you know, now we talked about all that credibility and having the authority. So most of the people who are writing a book has some kind of service or product, right? So if you're writing your book and you have a call to action in your book for them to do what you want them to do next, that's going to make you more money. So for instance, if you're a consultant and you wrote a book about what you consult on, or that, whether it's health or life coaching or whatever it is, then you would have a call to action in the book that says, for more information, go to this website or get this free video, right?
Right.
And that if you had them go to that website or that landing page, you could have them opt in with their name and email for them to get more information or get a free video. And the point of that would be for you to follow up with that person and then close them to being a client of yours. So a way to make money with a book isn't just to sell it and have book sales, but it's to make more money in the business that you're in. So, charging higher prices, getting that consulting deal. I mean, if you're charging, I don't know, $100 an hour to be a coach, well, now you have a book. Now you can charge more than that, right? And
right.
You can take a look at what other coaches are charging in your area, but don't just look at what the average coach is charging. Look at what the coach that charges the most is charging and charge what he's charging. Because you have a book, now you're an authority and an expert. Now you can charge more for your services.
Right, exactly. And you see, that's something that people tend to forget about, is that they're looking at comparing themselves to, let's say, other coaches just in their area. But that's the beautiful thing about when you have a book, you have a website, you now have the ability to market to the masses. So while there's people out there who are only going to focus in on, let's say, that they might charge $100 a session, well, you can take the steps, because you're now an authority, to position yourself as a premium choice, and then you're able to charge more. So instead of $100 a session, you might start charging $300, $400, or $500 a session.
Right.
Because you have that ability, because people want to associate themselves with an authority in a marketplace versus just the regular person.
Exactly.
That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and I think, charging those higher prices will give you even more authority and credibility. And I think that the charging higher prices helps you to feel better about yourself as well. I mean, you're going to be the better expert because you did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're charging $100 an hour, you're not going to give as much value as if you were charging $500 an hour. I think you're going to work a little harder or a little better or a little more efficient or something, right? And then your client's going to even love you more. So.
Right. Well, I look at it this way. It's all about the experience you give to somebody, because you go into business for yourself because you want to create a lifestyle. And if someone's goal was to, let's say, make $5,000 a month, if they're charging $100 an hour, well, they're going to have to do substantially more work than a person who's charging, let's say, $300, $400, or $500 for the same thing. So you have to think about it from that perspective. What is it that you want to do? Here's another way to look at it. If you're wanting to, let's say, if you like buying clothes, because, clothes are kind of a necessity in today's world, because otherwise it might be a little chilly depending where you are, or you might get sunburned in places you just don't want to be sunburned. But what's the difference between, let's say, you're buying a pair of jeans at Walmart, and then you're buying a pair of jeans at, let's say, Nordstrom's or another high-end department store? They're both jeans at the end of the day, but what's the real difference?
Yeah, it's really just the price.
Right, it's the price of it, because they have the same effect, and in some cases, the jeans are made in the exact same place.
Yep.
So So at the end of the day, it comes down to, if you position yourself as that premium choice, people are going to buy it. It was years ago. I remember I went to a wine tasting event. It was in Florida. So there was, I don't know how many different wineries that were represented. And we went by this one booth. And he said, "Oh, you guys have to try this." I thought, well, why not? So he didn't tell us anything about the prices on them. He said, "Okay, I want you to try these 3 and then tell me how much you think each of those cost based on the taste, the flavor." And we tasted them. The one that we thought cost the most was actually or at least one that tasted the best, was actually the cheapest one.
Right.
And he explained, it's like, because more expensive one. It's a limited run. They only produce so many bottles. I don't remember at this particular stage in life how many it was, but because of how they position it as that premium choice, it's a limited number. People pay a premium even though that the better wine is actually the cheaper one. Because it's all about positioning.
Yes.
And positioning matters in today's world.
It really does. And I think, that's where, my authority comes in, and why I wrote the books that I wrote is because you do have to position yourself to be found in today's crazy online world. And if you're not creating that content, or having social media, or, publishing a book, or doing these different things, then you're not going to be looked at as soon as someone else who is.
Right. So how many books have you written so far?
Well, I have 10 #1 bestsellers, and I have published quite a few because I have a few journals online as well on Amazon, journals and planners. But yeah, so I'm a 10-time best-selling author, and I think 3 of those I wrote myself, and the rest are all co-authored books.
Okay. Now, when you mention best-selling author, what do you mean by that? Are you talking like the New York Times best-selling list, or because some people are kind of confused about what does it actually mean?
Yeah. So I am an Amazon #1 bestseller, which means that my books have ranked #1 on Amazon.
Okay. So now, how does it impact it? Because there's some people who might think, well, that's just Amazon, and they might blow it off. But what does it truly mean to the general population when they say, oh, you're a bestseller? Does it really matter which list that you're on?
I think that people will perceive it different depending on which list you're on. Like, of course, if you say New York Times bestseller, of course, they're going to think you're, higher ranked than an Amazon bestseller. But the truth is that having that bestseller on your book just gives you that instant credibility. So you don't have to be a New York Times bestseller to have a bestseller status. And Amazon, you do have to strategically plan a bestseller launch and make sure that you get enough sales to become a bestseller. So it does give you a lot of credibility having that bestseller rank.
So what would you say has been the benefit from your clients and yourself that after you became a best-selling author, what happened?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you my experience from my very first book. I was asked to be in a book with Dan Kennedy. He's a marketing guru. And in the book, I wrote a chapter, and my chapter was all about marketing, right? And what I do. And instantly after that book was released, it became a #1 bestseller and on Amazon. And I was awarded an award in Hollywood. So I got the Editor's Choice Award and also a Quilly Award. So I got 2 awards. And then I got the #1 bestseller status. So instantly on my website, I could let everyone know that I am a member of this, award that I got, and also that I have a #1 bestseller on Amazon. So I actually doubled my prices as a consultant and as a designer, because I did web design as well as SEO. And as soon as I doubled my prices, I still sold just as many products and services that I had sold before. It wasn't like people backed away because I charged more. All my current clients, they stayed on with me. So, instantly I had credibility.
Oh, that's excellent. It makes a big difference because I think people have that fear if they were to double their prices. But when you're perceived as that authority, and then I don't want to say a scarcity thing takes place with some people, but they realize like, oh my gosh, we really have to keep this going here versus losing out. Because if you think about it, what's the last thing that any business owner wants to have happen? That they say, oh no, we don't want to pay twice the price, but then their competitor says, okay, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
And then they lose business.
Yeah.
And you think about how many times that happens every day out there because someone has a scarcity mentality instead of realizing that if you're not helping them, you're not just going to say, well, that's it, I'm not going to help anyone. How often do you think it's going to be, or how long it's going to be before a competitor realizes, oh, you're the person that helped them do this. If they're not paying you, I will.
Exactly.
As that makes all the difference in the world. So then obviously with publishing a book, becoming a bestseller, what are some of the other added benefits that people can experience by having it? Because someone's thinking, all right, I can double my prices. Yeah, that's great. I can get an award. Woohoo. But what else can I do because of it?
Right. Well, I think, a lot, depending on your goals and with your business and where you want to take your business and your, what you're doing right now, your career, you can really your book can take you to the next level. So, depending on your goals, you might want to become a speaker and go from stage to stage. You might want to do a podcast tour and be interviewed on podcasts. There's all the different strategies for what you want to do. And not everyone wants to go and speak on stages, but maybe you want to, sell more of your current product that you're selling. So, having a book really can propel that and boost that and give you that credibility. And if you write your book for a purpose, then you're not only sharing the message that you want to share to the world, but you also have a purpose behind the book and a marketing plan to make sure that it does make money, or that, you're going to make money from the book by doing these things.
Right. I think that's something that people miss out on. It's having that strategic plan in place of what they're going to be doing, because they figure, well, I have it out there now, then that's it. Versus here's all the steps that you need to do, because you might know one or two of them, but as you mentioned, there's so many more things that's possible. But it's having that knowledge to do it, which makes the difference.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because so many people are afraid to invest in themselves, invest in their business for that positioning, that if that book gets you in front of 100,000 more people, well, then it's worth every penny that you invested to know the system, because that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people need.
Definitely.
So along those lines there is, because, someone has a book and then they're deciding, okay, well, I need to market it. What is it that people should be looking for in someone to help them actually promote their book? Because they might think, well, can I just do it myself? Why is the benefit of having someone as yourself, Jen, to help guide them along the path of launching that book and becoming a bestseller?
Yeah, well, I think depending on your goals and depending on your time, a lot of times you write a book about your expertise, and then you spend all your time marketing your book. So you're not doing what you normally do, right?
Right.
So you can't do both. So that's why you hire someone to help you. So you hire a social media team. You hire someone that like us to do a bestseller launch for you to get the buzz going, or you make sure you have a marketing plan. Hire a marketing specialist that will help you to have a good marketing plan that includes all the types of marketing, whether it's Google ads or Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, or the newest thing out there right now is Amazon ads. Amazon will promote your book for free, but you can actually pay per click for Amazon ads. So you can have your book show up different times for people on Amazon. So, all these different ways to market your book besides doing ads, there's a lot of free things you can do, like the podcasting tours or speaking, or having a book signing party, that doesn't cost too much. So there's all these different things you can do. And if you have that strategic plan in place and you have someone else managing it for you, then you can concentrate on what you do best and on your expertise.
And that in itself is priceless, because we live in a world where some people have a scarcity mentality. They think, well, I have to do it myself. And they don't realize that if their natural talent is not marketing and promotion, it's going to take them a multiple of times longer just to get the same thing done. And that's after they figure out what the heck they have to do.
Right.
So if you think about it, if someone who doesn't understand anything about online marketing, ads, and this other stuff, they have to use trial and error, especially like you think about Facebook ads, Google ads, Amazon ads. If you have no clue what you're doing, you are going to lose money. There's no way around it.
Right.
But so you combine that with the time it takes just to learn enough knowledge to lose money, kind of an oxymoron there. You would be much better off just hiring somebody to do it, because during this time where you could have been working with clients and things and making money, you're losing more money on top of it. So it's just easier to say, I'm going to write this check and let's just make this work.
Exactly.
And that is what people have to do, and is what is realized. They're an expert in their field for a reason. It's the same reason why someone is hiring them, that they have to pay it forward and hire other people who are experts. So then everyone wins versus it being like, I'm doing everything myself and nothing happens.
Yes, and it's much less frustrating when you just hire the specialist to begin with.
Right, exactly. What will take that specialist, let's say 20 minutes to set up, 5 hours later, you're nowhere even close to figuring it out.
Yeah,
and it happens all the time.
My business partner, Melanie Johnson, she's down in Houston, and she's always giving the analogy of building a house. So if you were to build a house tomorrow, would you go and buy some paper and try and figure out how to draw up the plans and then buy some wood and start building it? Or would you hire an expert architect to make your plans and then hire a builder who knows how to build it? And of course, the builder, he's not going to do the plumbing, right? You're going to get a plumber because they know how to do the plumbing. And the plumber's not going to do the electricity because he doesn't know how. So you're going to hire an electrician to do the electricity. And if you don't hire all these people and you do it yourself, I'm sure you could do it. I've heard of people building their own house, but it's going to take a very long time and you're going to have to learn a lot.
Right. It is interesting that you used that analogy because it was several years ago. I heard, ironically, an analogy that in terms of the difference between society today and it was, let's say, 75 years ago, let's say in the 40s or in the 30s and beforehand. If someone wanted to build a house, if you're going back to let's just say 100 years ago, and you had a group of people, like 100 people together, in that one group, you could probably find all the talent you needed to put together an entire house without blinking an eye. Today, you might find one person who has an idea on one portion of it because of how society's shifted away from things. And how it relates to this is that we live in a world where people are specialized at doing a variety of things. So we have to seek out those who can do it because you think about it as another example. When we were growing up as kids, it was pretty common for most people to work on their cars. Like, oh yeah, this is easy. Now you look at it, unless you can plug your car in to have a computer tell you what's wrong, don't touch it. Because in all likelihood, you're going to mess it up.
That's so true. And the computer will tell you exactly and fix it. But if you try and fix it yourself, it's because cars have changed, right? Everything changes. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Things change and you have to adapt.
Right, exactly. So we have to constantly change and seek out the specialist to be able to do the things that we want to do. So as we begin wrapping things up, what's one thing that you recommend business owners and entrepreneurs do when it comes to getting a book out there and positioning themselves as an authority?
Yeah, well, I would say the biggest step is to start. Make that commitment. Decide and put a date on it. Get your calendar out and say, I'm going to have a book by Thanksgiving, or I'm going to have a book by July 4th, or, put the exact date on that you're going to have your book done, and just start. Whether you start with your 10 frequently asked questions or your 10 should ask questions, or you get out a journal and you just start writing, or a notebook, just start writing. That's what I suggest the first step.
That's excellent, because most people, they get stuck in their head and they don't take action just to get things moving, because as you know, once you get the ball rolling, it keeps flowing and flowing before you know it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm done. Yes. Which makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, and you'd be surprised. I mean, once you start writing your book and you declare it, I would even challenge everyone, if you're going to write a book, to go ahead and put it on Facebook or on any social media that you're on. Text it to your buddy. Make sure that you announce that you're going to be writing your book, because that gives you that commitment level that's going to take it to the next. And it's funny what happens. You start writing your book and, the universe just kind of opens up things to you. So you'll find people that will help you. The next day you'll find a graphic artist and you'll be like, what? I needed a book cover. Perfect. Or it just comes to you once you say you're going to do it.
Right. Exactly. It's an amazing thing. Once you declare it, all the resources you need, because now you're putting that intention out there into the world so people know what you need, and then they can help you accordingly. Because if you don't tell anybody what you need, no one's going to know how to help you.
That's right.
So how can people learn more about you, Jenn, and connect with you?
Yeah, well, you can find me or my company at eliteonlinepublishing.com. You can also check me out at jennfosterseo.com.
That's excellent. Well, Jenn, I want to thank you for coming on to the Big Movement podcast today and sharing your wealth of wisdom about marketing and publishing a book online.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.